Hey, this is Brandon with Pickleball Effect. Today is my very first podcast episode. I'm trying something new here. This just seems like the best format to share everything that's going on in my corner of the world with Pickleball Effect. I'll just be sharing updates on projects, paddle reviews, my takes and thoughts on things happening within the pickleball world, and excited to get this going. The first bit of news I have is that I'm not selling paddles on my website anymore. So I'm in the middle of transitioning my website from a retail website to an affiliate website, and it's just solely going to be content, solely going to be reviews, just pointing to other websites, and I'm no longer going to carry paddles. So if you've been following my journey, I started doing reviews back in 2019, 2020. At the time, there was just not a lot of information about paddles out there, so I decided to start doing paddle reviews, and have since done reviews for hundreds of paddles, and it's been a lot of fun. And then a year ago, I decided to turn my review website into a retail website with the idea that I could create a unique experience when shopping for paddles that was better, compared to other options out there like Pickleball Central. Just because when you go to Pickleball Central, it can be very overwhelming, especially if you're a newer player. They have like over 30 plus brands, hundreds of paddles, and it's just really difficult to find the paddle that, fits what you're looking for, especially when they all seem to have like the very same marketing of, the perfect blend of power and control. And so I was just going to use my experience as a reviewer and came in with the angle that I'm only going to sell paddles I reviewed, I know are good. I'm going to keep the brand number down. And so that was my idea with the retail side of things. I did that for a year. I had some success, but ultimately it just was a big time suck. Just managing inventory, fulfillment, and customer service. Customer service was a huge headache. I had some really interesting stories of some customers I dealt with. People can get very angry if their paddle is arriving a day late. Anyways, just with all that time being taken away from me, I just wasn't able to dedicate as much time to the stuff that I actually really enjoyed doing for Pickleball Effect, like the reviews and the content. So I decided that I'm going to stop doing the retail side and just go back to managing an affiliate program and just focus on content, doing the reviews. I can still focus on my same mission of helping people find the right paddle for them, but I'll just be doing it a little bit differently, and I'll be pointing people to other websites. But it was, I tried it for a year. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Learned a lot about the paddle industry and just how retail websites work. I've been working for B2B software companies for my whole career, and this was my first retail experience. And so I learned a ton, but I am excited to kind of go back to my roots here. I'm going away from the retail side. I'm going to have a lot more time to do more content, so I'm going to start doing this podcast. I have some plans to start doing some more instructional videos. I'm partnering with a local instructor here in Boise, Idaho, who's going to help me make some more instructional videos going forward, along with my reviews. I'll still be doing paddle type information and a few other things, but really excited about the future. I'm going to be posting more content more frequently. I'm in the middle of transitioning my website back to just a review and content website instead of a retail website. I've got some really cool plans. I'm actually going to keep the storefront in there, and I'm just going to switch the buy now buttons that just point to different brands' websites. But I'm going to keep the same idea that all the paddles that are within that kind of store feature of my website are going to be the paddles that I recommend the most, and that they'll also fit into my algorithm, my paddle fitting quiz algorithm. If you haven't checked that out, go to my website and look at my paddle fitting quiz. It takes you through 5-10 questions to figure out what your play style is, what your need is, and then we'll match you up to a couple of paddles that are in my database. And so I'm going to keep that storefront there. It adds a little more information about how the paddles play, and will hopefully help people find the right paddle for them. But so I'm going to keep that there. I have a few other things in the works for the website that I'm really stoked about that I'll introduce later. But that's what's going on there. So some interesting things about this switch too. So there was the time piece, there was the time component. But there was also some other things I did that made me decide that this was the better route to go. So I did a poll on Instagram and asked people, where do they prefer to buy paddles from? I said, do you prefer to buy it straight from the brand, from retailers, or from in-store, or from reps? And the vast majority said they prefer buying it directly from the brand. So that was one reason. I had the assumption that a lot of people were coming to my website, doing paddle research, and then buying the paddle elsewhere and not directly from my store anyways. And so switching my store to this format of just pointing to the brands is actually going to match the buying behavior and just make it easier for people to buy the paddles they want, and I can give them discount codes and help them out that way. And then additionally, when I looked at the website metrics of my visitors, I generate quite a few visitors to my website every month, but I just had this crazy low conversion rate. Like people would come to my site and just would rarely buy on my site for how much traffic I was generating. And so that was kind of another indicator. It's like, look, people are coming here and are buying elsewhere. And when you think about it, like it makes sense. Like if I'm buying a $200 paddle, this is not an impulse buy. Like this is something you think about, you do research. So people were probably coming to my website, doing research, finding a couple of paddles they like. They would think about it for a week. And then when they decided that they wanted to buy it, they would probably just go to the brand's website, buy it, rather than coming back to my website and buying it through my store. And so the behavior I think will match better with how people buy, and I'll be able to kind of fit into the puzzle and just do what I want to do, which is help you find the right paddle and just do it in a way that matches how people are buying paddles. So very excited about the switch. Some other stuff I'm working on, I've started developing some pickleball products. So I created my very own edge tape. I have some here. So the story behind this is I just wasn't a fan of what else was out there. The majority of edge tape that you buy for your paddles is short. It doesn't even cover your entire paddle if you wanted to. So that was annoying. And of course, every brand puts their brand on the tape. And I just wanted something that was brandless. I just wanted one long piece, and I wanted it just to fit the paddle well, and that just didn't exist. And so I bought a bunch of different tapes out there and found the stuff I liked the most. So Gearbox and Selkirk had some very similar edge tape that I liked the most. It was a little lighter weight, wasn't as heavy as say so like the Pro Light or Forza stuff that's out there. So I liked that was lighter weight, still durable. So I went and found that manufacturer and had them make me some edge tape to the specs that I wanted. So I had them just create one long strand, no brand on it. So it looks really clean and fresh on your paddle, and you can cut it to the size you want rather than just having one short piece. If you just want to cover the top, you can do that. If you want to cover your whole paddle, go for it. If you just want to cover the two bottom corners, you do whatever you want. Anyways, I put this on Amazon a couple of weeks ago. It's doing really well. I'm very surprised how many of these I've sold actually. So these are doing good, but I got some good feedback from people. So right now it's 20 millimeters thick. So when you put this on a paddle, I actually have it here. So when you put this on a paddle, it just covers the top part. And a lot of people wish that it went over the edge a little bit. So this next batch I ordered is a little wider than this. So this is 20 millimeters wide. This next batch I ordered is 25 millimeters. So that's going to go around the edges or down the side of the edge guard a little bit on a 16 millimeter, and will fully cover like a 13 or a 14 millimeter. So that's one change I made, and then I ordered a bunch of different colors. So hopefully people will like it a little more in the future. People can be a little ruthless on Amazon reviews, but hopefully this addresses a lot of the feedback and concerns I got originally. Really surprised how well it's doing. I have some other ideas of some things I want to do with lead tape. Got a lot of ideas in my head, but I'm going to start introducing some products here and there that I think fit the needs of a pickleball player better than what's already out there. Obviously I spend a ton of time playing pickleball, and you just come across these little things that are super annoying, like just having this edge guard tape that just didn't fit exactly what I was looking for. And so I'm going to start making some more of my own stuff and putting it on Amazon and see how that goes. So that's been fun. So as far as review goes, I'm currently playing with the Volair Mach 1 Forza. So this is Julian Arnold's new paddle. This is their thermoform version. So I've been playing with it for a bit. I think Chris Olsen kind of nailed the situation we're in right now with the paddle industry. He said it was like a week or two ago that we're in this copycat phase where a lot of brands introduced the thermoform paddles. It was really exciting, and now all the brands that don't have one, like they have to come out with one right now. And so they're coming out with their own thermoform paddles. They're not necessarily unique or special. They're just, you kind of have to get up to speed with what's popular, what people are liking. And so I kind of feel like that's what this is. This is a bit of a catch-up paddle. It plays really nice. I do like it. It's on par with other thermoform paddles out there, but I didn't really feel like it has a unique identity. But I'll keep playing with it. There are some cool things about this that I do like. When you buy it, it comes with like an eraser, some extra grips, and some other stuff, and so you get a little more bang for your buck when you buy it. And plus, I like that it's a little different than what else is out there. for some reason, I just don't like playing with the gear that everyone else is using. And so I do like that it's a nice paddle, it's a reputable brand, but it's not a paddle that like everyone has. And so you're a little unique, and you don't feel like you're just buying what everyone else is buying. And anyways, I'm working on the full review, so I'll get that posted here in the next week or so. Some other things that's going on in my world. So I just finished a tournament this last weekend. I'm from Boise, Idaho. I played this tournament in Kennewick, Washington. This was an open division. When I first started playing pickleball, my goal was just to be a competitive 5-0 player. I feel like I've reached that, and my next goal is to start medaling in these 5-0 and open events and just be a consistent contender in these. And so I'm getting close to that. So this last weekend, there were 16 teams. There was a handful of really, really solid teams. So me and my partner, Billy Buckhauser, he's from Boise here. He's a solid player. I was his right side player. He was playing left. We ended up taking 5th place out of 16 teams. We got kicked out kind of deep into the back draw. It was a bummer of a game because yes, we lost and they beat us, give them credit, but it was one of those games where you feel like you could have won, you should have won, and you just kind of beat yourselves a little bit. And so it was tough to go out that way. But there was definitely some stuff I learned from this tournament that I want to practice on and implement for future tournaments. So some of the key takeaways from me, one is just tournament management. So it was a super hot day. It was 95 to 100 degrees all day, and we had 3 or 4 back-to-back games. Didn't really get much of a break out of the heat, and I didn't bring a cooler. I just really wasn't prepared for the heat. And by the time we got to that last game where we lost, I didn't feel 100% focused. I didn't feel like I brought my best stuff, and part of it was my body was hot, and I just didn't manage the heat well. So I think in the future, I'm going to bring a cooler. I'm going to have cold drinks the whole time. I read up on some stuff about it, and having cold water consistently throughout the day helps keep the body cool. I saw some people with some towels in their coolers that were wet. They would pull out, wipe their face off, wipe their neck down in between, timeouts or games, just to keep your body cool. So things like that to keep the body cool. And then I need some caffeine or something. I just got tired. I need a little boost. And so just some supplements and some things to keep you going throughout the day. I think I could have performed better in that last game and potentially could have kept the run going, but still happy with 5th place. But the tournament before that was another open event. It was a local one here in Boise. Took 4th. Me and my partner, we played really well. I was really happy with that tournament. It was a bummer we didn't medal, but we made it through the round robin and then just lost in the playoff matches. But we beat some teams that have been beating me the last few tournaments, and so it's fun to see that progress. And hopefully I'll get to that point where I'm a consistent contender for medaling in these events. And then the second takeaway I had was in more relation to my gameplay and some shots I just need to develop a little more. So I have this really consistent, just reliable sliced, forehand dink where I can place it where I want, but it's not really. Doesn't really put any pressure on anybody. It's not really a threat. It's a little floaty, and I can keep it shallow, so it's not the easiest ball to attack, but it's not putting pressure on my opponents. So I want to develop some more pressurized shots, some more pressurized dinks to potentially create some offense and just keep my my opponents on their toes a little better. I felt like I was kind of setting up their team a little bit. I wasn't keeping the pressure on them enough. So I'm going to work on some forehand rolls that are going to be a little lower, a little deeper, and hopefully it'll be tougher to attack and put more pressure on them. And when I have the opportunity to put more pressure with the dink, when you get kind of some of those dead dinks, you can flick them and try to attack off that, or you can hit a highly pressurized dink. I just don't have that shot in my repertoire yet where I can rely on it, especially in a tournament. So that's something I'm going to start working on. And then even from a couple of feet off the kitchen line, just having a roll I can hit cross court that's low in the corner, that's a little more difficult to handle. So that's some stuff I'm going to drill these next couple of weeks. I have a couple more tournaments coming up. I want to start traveling more and doing more tournaments. That's kind of everything I had today. I'm excited to do these podcasts more often. In the future, we'll be kind of jumping all over the place with different topics. I'll be bringing guests in, and anyways, looking forward to doing this more. How do we sign off on these things? I guess you just say peace. See you next time. Thanks.